When a man who doesn't crave attention finally snaps, it's not a spectacle, it's a psychological earthquake. That's the Sigma male. Known for his self-reliance, emotional control, and mysterious calm, he rarely lets his anger surface, but when he does, it's not loud, it's legendary. Sigma males are introverted alphas. They value autonomy over dominance, and instead of seeking validation, they operate in the shadows, strategic, reserved, and always calculating. But even steel can bend, and when pushed too far, their response is more chilling than chaotic. Unlike explosive types, Sigmas internalize frustration, but that doesn't mean they ignore it. It simmers. And when the pressure valve finally releases, their reaction isn't a temper tantrum, it's a calculated shift in behavior. You'll see it in the sudden silence, the colder stare, the withdrawal that feels like exile. They won't argue, they'll exit, quietly cutting you off like a ghost protocol. Studies in psychology back this. Introverts tend to process anger inwardly, often transforming it into introspection or decisive action. For Sigmas, this often means creating distance or setting boundaries so firm they feel like a fortress. And here's the twist. Their anger becomes fuel. Instead of lashing out, they level up. That betrayal, motivation, that insult, a reminder of what they won't tolerate. Sigma males don't scream for revenge, they evolve. So if you ever witness a Sigma male lose his cool, don't expect drama. Expect a reckoning that comes in silence, strategy, and stunning transformation. Number 1, the vanishing act. The ultimate silent protest. You won't see a Sigma male flip out in a heated argument or slam doors when he's mad. Instead, he disappears, and that's not by accident. This disappearance isn't some theatrical ghosting tactic, it's a calculated move. Sigmas are introverted strategists by nature. When they're angry, their first instinct isn't to explode, it's to retreat. Not out of fear, but out of discipline. According to psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron, who introduced the concept of highly sensitive people, some personalities process emotional stimuli more deeply. Sigma males often fall into this category, not because they're fragile, but because they're perceptive. They don't just feel anger, they analyze it. When a Sigma male disappears during conflict, he's entering what you could call a power-down phase. It's his way of recalibrating. He walks away from the noise, not to avoid confrontation, but to ensure his next move is intentional. In that silence, he regains clarity, separates emotion from logic, and forms a calculated response. This isn't passive aggression. It's emotional intelligence at work. You see, drama and outbursts often come from a need to be heard or validated. But Sigma males don't chase validation, they chase resolution. Their silence is a mirror to the chaos, often unsettling to those who thrive on immediate reactions. That absence, it echoes louder than any raised voice. And when they return, they're sharper, composed, and unshakable. Their comebacks aren't verbal jabs, they're strategic shifts in behavior, boundaries, or direction. They've done the inner work, and now they act, not react. This controlled emotional regulation is a sign of maturity and resilience. According to a 2010 study published in Psychological Science, individuals who engage in cognitive reappraisal, the ability to reinterpret an emotional event, have better emotional outcomes. That's Sigma energy in action. So here's the takeaway. The Sigma's power doesn't lie in dominating others through loud reactions. It lies in mastering himself. His silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. When you learn to control your response instead of being controlled by emotion, you elevate from reacting to ruling. Sigma males don't vanish to escape, they vanish to evolve. And when they return, they don't just walk back into the room, they own it. Number 2, the ice-cold precision, no explosions, just execution. When most people get angry, they tend to explode, raising their voices, venting their frustration, or reacting impulsively. But Sigma males are wired differently. When they get mad, it's not about losing control, it's about gaining clarity. Imagine a chess grandmaster surveying the board after an unexpected move. He doesn't panic, he recalculates. That's exactly what a Sigma male does. There's no yelling, no emotional outburst. Instead, Sigma males process anger like data, coolly and efficiently, the toxic relationship. They don't beg or bicker, they cut it off like a surgeon removing a tumor. The disrespectful coworker, rather than confront them with drama, they outmaneuver them with skill and precision, subtly repositioning themselves to avoid the chaos, the betrayal. They may forgive in public, but in private they store that lesson forever, never letting their guard down with that person again. This stoic response isn't apathy, it's mastery over emotion. Psychologists refer to this as emotional regulation, the ability to manage one's emotional responses in a healthy and constructive way. Research shows that individuals with strong emotional regulation tend to make better decisions, enjoy stronger leadership skills, and experience lower stress levels. In fact, a 2016 study published in the journal Emotion found that people who regulate anger through reappraisal, like Sigmas often do, are more likely to remain calm and assertive under pressure. This makes Sigma males intimidating. Their silence isn't weakness, it's strategic. Their calm isn't passivity, it's preparation. They operate like elite operatives, making surgical decisions while others are busy shouting. And that calculated, almost surgical approach to conflict often leaves a lasting impression. It's anger without the mess. It's vengeance without the drama. It's power that doesn't shout. It moves like a shadow and strikes with purpose. For anyone looking to harness this mindset, the takeaway is clear. The most powerful response isn't always the loudest. Sometimes it's the quiet, calculated one that changes everything. When you learn to channel your emotions rather than be consumed by them, you don't just win the argument, you win the game. Number 3, the unexpected kindness. Kindness that cuts deeper. Now this one's really going to throw you off. Sometimes when a Sigma male is seething with fury, boiling inside with rage, you won't see an explosion. You won't hear yelling, no fists slamming on tables. Instead, you might witness something entirely unexpected, kindness. Why? Because Sigma males operate on a different psychological level. They've mastered their emotions, and instead of reacting impulsively, they respond with intentional control. This is not emotional suppression, it's emotional alchemy. Turning anger into grace, that's power. Here's the psychological breakdown. When a person reacts with rage, they hand over control. But Sigmas know that real dominance lies in restraint. According to emotional intelligence research by psychologist Daniel Goleman, people who manage their emotions effectively tend to command more respect and influence. This is especially true when it comes to conflict. Instead of escalating tension, Sigmas disarm it. Now picture this. Someone disrespects a Sigma publicly. Maybe they mock him, try to humiliate him. The room braces for impact, but instead the Sigma smiles, offers a drink, or calmly says, "That's interesting," and walks away. That's not a man being passive. That's a man showing psychological warfare in its most elegant form. This is known as tactical kindness, a form of unexpected behavior that leaves aggressors confused, often embarrassed. Neuroscience tells us that unpredictability triggers confusion in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. In short, being nice when provoked short-circuits the enemy's plan. It exposes their immaturity without the Sigma ever raising his voice. In military terms, this is asymmetric warfare. The Sigma doesn't fight on his opponent's terms. He flips the script. He brings a chessboard to a street fight. So let this be clear. Restraint is not weakness. In fact, it's a weapon. The Sigma male uses grace like a blade, sharp, deliberate, and devastatingly effective. His silence, strategic. His smile, calculated. His kindness, weaponized. Sigma, when you're tested, don't lose your cool. Instead, wield your composure like a sword. Your restraint becomes your blade, remember that. Number 4, the transformation turning rage into evolution. Most people allow anger to consume them. It becomes a wildfire, uncontrolled, destructive, and ultimately exhausting. Not Sigma males. For Sigmas, anger isn't a dead end, it's fuel. It's an internal ignition switch. When they're hurt, betrayed, or underestimated, they don't lash out, they level up. This is the Sigma mindset. Rather than reacting emotionally, they respond with strategy. Anger becomes energy, and energy becomes momentum. When life strikes a nerve, they strike back, not with fists, but with progress. Studies in psychology show that channeling anger into physical activity or goal pursuit can actually improve performance and motivation. According to research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, anger, when properly managed, can increase perseverance and improve outcomes in difficult tasks. That's the Sigma advantage, emotional transmutation. Instead of stewing in bitterness, Sigma males hit the gym, each rep fueled by frustration. They work longer hours with laser-sharp focus, their mind locked onto their next milestone. Instead of spiraling into arguments, they dive into self-improvement. They don't fight with people, they fight with their limits. Every insult becomes an extra set. Every betrayal becomes a better boundary. Every moment of pain becomes a blueprint for a new version of themselves. And when you see them next, they're stronger, sharper, and more focused than ever before. They've upgraded quietly and relentlessly. Sigmas don't glow up for validation, they glow up for evolution. So if you've been broken, abandoned, or marked, don't explode. Evolve. Let your transformation be your triumph. Remember, the loudest comeback isn't a shout, it's silence backed by success. Sigma males don't just walk through fire, they forge themselves in it. Number 5, the mirror effect. Turning the energy back on you. When someone tries to pick a fight with a Sigma male, they usually walk away confused, frustrated, or completely disarmed. Why? Because Sigma males don't operate on the typical emotional playbook. They're masters of psychological neutrality, employing a strategy similar to what martial artists call mental judo. They don't fight back directly, they reflect. Let's say someone approaches a Sigma with aggression, sarcasm, or manipulation. Instead of reacting emotionally, the Sigma simply mirrors the behavior in a detached, almost clinical way. If someone acts cold, the Sigma becomes ice. If someone tries manipulation, the Sigma plays along just enough to reveal the trap, letting the manipulator get tangled in their own game. This isn't about cruelty, it's about control. Psychologically, this is known as gray rocking, a tactic where one becomes so emotionally non-reactive that manipulators lose interest. It's effective because most instigators thrive on attention and drama. When those aren't available, their power deflates. Sigma males also embody high emotional intelligence, EQ. Studies have shown that individuals with strong EQs tend to stay calm in tense situations, perceive emotional cues more accurately, and respond in a way that de-escalates or redirects conflict. This is exactly what Sigmas do. They don't just stay calm, they weaponize calmness. This mental judo confuses the instigator. People are used to a reaction, a shout, a pushback, a meltdown. But when faced with silence, stillness, or stoic reflection, the aggressor loses traction. It's like trying to punch a shadow. You swing, but nothing hits. In essence, the Sigma male becomes a mirror, cool, calculating, and impossible to manipulate. That mirror reflects others' behavior so precisely that they're forced to confront themselves. And in a world where most people wear masks, that can be terrifying. So if you're a Sigma, keep that mirror polished. It's your stealthiest and most powerful weapon in a world driven by chaos and noise. Number 6, the deep dive obsessive self-reflection. When Sigma males get mad, something fascinating happens. They don't explode, they evolve. Instead of pointing fingers, Sigma males turn the mirror inward. While most people use anger as a weapon or a shield, Sigmas use it as a compass. They ask themselves questions that most avoid. Why did this upset me? What wound did this poke at? What can I learn about myself from this moment? This introspection is what sets them apart. Psychologically speaking, this practice aligns with cognitive behavioral theory, where emotions like anger are viewed as signals, not just reactions. Sigmas naturally do what therapists call reframing. Instead of seeing anger as something negative, they reframe it as feedback, a catalyst for self-mastery. And the process, it's intense. Sigmas often disappear into solitude, not to sulk, but to recalibrate. They read voraciously. Think Marcus Aurelius' Meditations or Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. These aren't just books to them, they're blueprints for emotional alchemy. They journal, they run mental diagnostics. And when they emerge, they're sharper, calmer, wiser. This kind of internal transmutation has roots in Stoic philosophy, where emotions aren't denied, they're understood and disciplined. Seneca, a Stoic thinker, once wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." That could be the Sigma's motto. So, while others throw tantrums or retaliate, the Sigma refines. He turns emotion into insight and reaction into growth. Here's the kicker. Every trigger becomes a teacher. That person who insulted him, a lesson in boundaries. That failed plan, a masterclass in adaptability. That betrayal, a seminar in self-worth. By mastering this process, Sigma males ensure no one can control them emotionally again. Anger no longer controls them, it teaches them. And that right there is emotional sovereignty. When you reach that level of self-discipline, you're not just emotionally intelligent, you're emotionally invincible. Number 7, the silent power move, letting success do the screaming. When all else fails, Sigma males don't argue, they elevate. This single line captures the essence of the Sigma mindset, a quiet, unwavering commitment to self-mastery and strategic progress. In a world where social media rewards clapbacks and viral shade, Sigma males take a different route. They respond to disrespect not with noise, but with results. Let's break it down. When someone disrespects a Sigma male, he doesn't retaliate with petty insults or social media theatrics. He doesn't waste energy trying to convince others of his worth. Instead, he channels that energy into building, into honing his craft, growing his business, improving his mind, or fortifying his body. This is what psychologists call sublimation, a mature defense mechanism where negative emotions are transformed into constructive outcomes. Sigmas use it like a weapon. There's a reason this works. Research in behavioral psychology shows that arguing rarely changes minds. It only entrenches both sides further. Instead of playing that losing game, Sigma males choose self-discipline and purpose. They rise above, and in doing so, they become undeniable. Think of icons like Elon Musk, Keanu Reeves, or Kobe Bryant. These men didn't shout their greatness, they lived it, silently, relentlessly. Sigma males also understand the law of power. Never outshine the master, but always make your presence felt. They don't bark, they build. When you think they're gone, they reappear, stronger, smarter, and more successful. Their silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, and that silence echoes. While others waste time with public feuds or passive-aggressive tweets, the Sigma male stacks wins. He transforms setbacks into stepping stones. His revenge isn't a comeback line, it's a comeback life. In leadership studies, this aligns with the concept of transformational leadership, leading by example, inspiring others without coercion. Sigmas embody this. They don't shout, "Respect me." They become so excellent, so composed, that respect becomes inevitable. So when the world throws shade, a Sigma male builds an empire so radiant that even his enemies benefit from the light. That's the ultimate flex, not proving them wrong with words, but making it impossible for them to deny your value. Sigmas, let your silence echo through your success. That's how kings move, not with noise, but with undeniable presence. So, Sigmas, let's talk about anger, a feeling often misunderstood. Society tends to label anger as something negative, a weakness or a danger to be avoided. But what if I told you anger, when controlled and understood, isn't your enemy? It's actually a powerful tool, a compass that points you toward what truly matters. Anger is like fire. It can burn destructively if left unchecked, but when harnessed, it becomes the fuel that sharpens your mind and hones your focus. Psychologists explain that anger triggers the release of adrenaline and cortisol, heightening your alertness and preparing you to take decisive action. This biological response is your body's way of signaling that something important is at stake. Discipline is born from that fire. Anger can motivate you to set boundaries, to defend your values, and to push beyond limits that once held you back. It tests your character by revealing how well you can channel intense emotions into positive outcomes rather than destructive outbursts. Historically, many great leaders and warriors have acknowledged anger as a source of strength. Think of how righteous anger has fueled movements for justice and change. So rather than fearing or suppressing anger, learn to understand it. Use it to ignite your discipline, to test your resilience, and to reveal your true self. If this insight resonates with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe, and join our Sigma community where we don't just watch. We embody the mindset, transform, and rise. Stay true and stay Sigma.